From the Figure 4 Online Studios in beautiful Bothell, Washington, exclusively at WrestlingObserver.com, you're listening to The Bryan and Vinny Show with your hosts, Bryan Alvarez and Big Vinny V.
Well,
shit.
Wow. We just got started.
As important, the first word out of my mouth would be profanity.
It's the Bryan and Vinny Show, everybody. The Hell in a Cell pay-per-view.
Shit in a cell.
Pay-per-view recap. Everyone always gets so... I don't know if they get disappointed. They probably will today. All I heard was, I can't wait to hear Bryan rant about this show. I can't wait to hear him freak out about it. Dude, when it reaches this level, it's funny.
Fair enough.
You know what I'm saying? And besides, if you didn't hear Observer Live today, which you probably didn't because it ran head-to-head with the pre-show, like if you actually cared enough to watch this pay-per-view, I did a 9-minute, non-stop, didn't take a breath rant about this company, this WWE. I say it with such contempt in my voice. This big long rant about how AW beats them on Wednesday nights. And how do they respond? Do they respond like a normal company and or rational person or people and try to do the best they can for their fans? No, they don't.
They continue to torment their fans and taunt them.
Screw them.
And screw them.
Every way possible.
Violently.
They false advertise their biggest stars on Friday. They humiliate Kofi Kingston in 7 seconds to prove to you that you were an idiot for believing in that guy. They don't bother announcing a card for Hell in a Cell. They think you're a dumb mark. That's what they think about you, fans.
I've been saying this for years.
For 9 minutes, I went on and on about how they think you're such a dumb mark, and you're going to buy your tickets anyway, and you're going to watch the shows anyway, and they're going to screw you here, and they're going to screw you there, and you're just going to take it over and over again. That was before this show aired.
You're Nostradamus.
I hadn't even watched this show yet. I didn't think it could be this bad. Now, somebody on the board said, this is as bad as it gets. I thought, no, we're watching WCW 2000, people. It ain't as bad as it can get.
It can't get worse than this.
It can get worse. I think it's going to get worse.
I was going to say, this may be... WCW was worse, but this may be more infuriating because this company should have learned from that company's failures.
Well, no, Vinny. The problem is Vince McMahon is still running the show, and he ain't getting any younger. That's why I'm telling you, it can get worse.
You got a point.
This is Vince at 73 years old. You know he's not going to stop doing this till he's in the grave. So, if we presume that, he lives another 10 years... Can we all stop for a second and try and imagine 83-year-old Vince McMahon putting a pay-per-view together for you?
I see your point.
It's going to be worse. It's only going to get worse every year. Every year, he's a year older. You guys realize that the XFL starts in 5 months now?
4, I think.
4 months from now, he's going to be doing this, and he's going to be running the XFL. And he's going to be 4 or 5 months older. It's only going to get worse. So I can only get so angry. And it really is kind of funny. I was really mad watching this show. And did I not laugh at the disqualification in the main event? Did I not laugh? I laughed.
In a way, we both did. I did not literally laugh. I
laughed.
Snapped.
I literally laughed. I had to tell you not to quit.
You did?
Yes.
I did not scream. I just started pointing at you with my eyes bugging out.
You did. You did. Vinny, did you not see my tweet the other day where WWE's own social media did a poll? And one of the options was disqualification?
The point that I was trying to make when I pointed at you was to remind you of that poll, but I was so flabbergasted I could not even speak.
I did not need to
I
be
was,
reminded.
in fact, speechless.
I was laughing because as always, I say something on Twitter, and crazy people act all crazy, and then I get the last laugh. You know how many people out here on Twitter tell me, Bryan, it's just a poll. Why do you take this seriously? They're not going to do a DQ. You know how many people out here tell me that? Well, guess what, everybody? They did a disqualification. They did a DQ in a Hell in a Cell match.
They did a DQ in a Hell in a Cell match in the main event of the show for doing something that had already been done 24 times in the very same match.
Yes. You can hit a
Getting hot
man.
again.
You can hit a man. You can hit a woman with a chain. You can hit a woman with a chair. You can hit a woman with a ladder. You can hit a man with a chair. You can hit a man with a ladder. You can hit a man with a toolbox full of tools.
Bryan, you can hit a man with a mallet.
You can try to impale a man with a square mallet.
But God forbid you use a
Hold
hammer,
on, hold on a second,
which
Vinny.
is a fucking mallet.
Hold on a second, Vinny.
I'm going to wake up your babies.
So you're not going to wake up the babies.
Can we move the show? I feel...
Well, we're talking about the whole main event now. We're getting it over with. Okay. Do you realize how painful it would be to impale a man with a square mallet? Think about this, Vinny. If you had the option, would you rather be skewered with a sharp sword or a square mallet?
Well, I suppose if I must between those two, I would go with the sword,
This
Bryan.
referee was okay. And if you think we're joking, Dio Madden actually said he's trying to impale him.
That's the word he used. Impale.
With a giant square mallet. Okay, you can't do that. But if you did, this would be horribly painful, okay? That's okay. This referee thought that was okay. You can impale a man with a square mallet. But God forbid you get a small mallet.
Small mallet. And you hit a man in the head when he in fact has armor over his head to protect it, like chairs and ladders, so it's not a direct shot.
You know, I didn't think about this till right now, but what happened was a giant mallet is okay,
Yes.
but a little mallet is not okay.
Yes.
What?
That's the rules.
Just thought about
That's
this.
the rules, Bryan. In a Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell. Folks, that happened like 25 minutes ago. He just figured it out. I'm not laughing at him. Now, Bryan. Now, do you understand why? Now, Bryan, do you know why we're going to rant about this show? Trying to move. This camera mounted? Kind of, yeah, it's.
I can't even believe
It's my phone. Hang on. I should live tweet this. That's a video.
Oh my God.
I'm recording, Bryan.
If you stop recording, Rob, you're fired.
I would never.
I lost it. I finally snapped.
I'm actually zooming out so we can picture a different Vinny videoing you.
I finally snapped.
Why are we sober?
I'm not sure I am.
I do not. You know what? I don't feel sober. I feel alcohol is a poison, right? When you take alcohol, it's a poison that causes damage to your brain, which causes the inebriated feeling. I feel poisoned.
Let's start at the beginning.
Yeah, I probably should. Get it on Twitter.
I mean, honestly, the problem was we started an hour in, and so after the match, we went back and watched the two best things on the show. So even this is not a fair review.
I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I'm fucking cares.
All right. So yes, I heard you, Bryan, say we started an hour late. So what happened was, folks, there were two good matches on the show, but they were at the beginning. We started right after the two good matches. So then we saw 2.5 hours of shit, as I said, shit in a cell. So then we went back to watch those first two matches, and I was not in a mood to like wrestling. I really, really bad was looking for shit to hate.
Oh, how?
And I'm good at it, Bryan. I can find the negative in almost anything. So I found stuff to nitpick about these two matches. But you know what? They were very good wrestling matches.
These people deserve to be praised.
This was not the worst pay-per-view I ever saw. Thanks to Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, Luke Harper, and Eric Rowan. Congratulations, Vintner. You saved the show. Is that done?
Somebody all right?
Yeah. All right, we open with WWE Shit in a Cell, October 2nd of the year 2019. Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks in a Hell in a Cell match. So, Sasha has the temerity to attack before the cell is lowered, because they did intros first. This was to stand in the ring and wait there like geeks while the cell lowers. Sasha says, I'm not a fucking geek. I'm going to go fight this woman. Goes and attacks, everyone boos. They're fighting outside the ring as the cell lowers. They've killed the stip before it even actually begins. Eventually, they get back in the cage, but the door is not locked. So Becky hits her with a chain a lot, then locks the door, and then the match finally starts. So for a long time, they are doing stuff, and they're like playing Lincoln Logs and Erector sets, and they're just building shit for the sake of building shit, and it annoyed me. And then eventually, the Lincoln Logs and Erector sets.
Excuse me? Did you say Erector sex?
I did.
I
told you I was drunk. Erector sets. Eventually, all paid off into really cool-looking stuff. So yes, while I found it very silly that they spent several minutes taking 2 kendo sticks to fasten it's like a little tree stand for deer hunting. They suspended a chair in the cell 4 or 5 feet off the ground. It wasn't a very good tree stand for deer hunting, but you get my picture. They spent several minutes building this, so...
Erecting?
I almost said it again. They spent a long time building this just so Becky could do a big dropkick into it. Now, the dropkick looks cool! But stop building shit and just fight. I just want to see people fight. That's all I want. So once this got going...
That was 3/4 of the way in.
I went that far. It's halfway in.
Well, okay.
If you count the stuff that happened before the match, which is 5 minutes of fighting, so I counted, it's about halfway in. So they were not just randomly hitting each other with shit. They would set up a spot and they would tease it and get the fans into it. They would get the fans expecting one thing, but switch it and deliver something else. So the fans were surprised, but in a good way. They set up the table and teased everything to the big meteor through the table. Throw a bunch of chairs in the ring, tease a couple things off the ropes, and finally Becky does the exploder onto the chairs, puts her in the disarmor, and Sasha is trapped. She tries to fight out. She cannot escape. She taps out. Becky wins. This was a good wrestling match.
Yeah, this was a very good Hell in a Cell match. If I have to nitpick one thing, it is that at least twice, and it probably would have been a lot more, but I was busy like trying to figure out what the hell was going on in the world. Like these rioting fans as they're leaving the building, because we watched this right after the main event. At least twice, I had to rewind because I couldn't figure out why the other person was in control. There was a stunning lack of transitions in this match.
Yes.
Like, literally, Sasha buried her in chairs and was smashing her with chairs. And then Sasha goes up to the middle rope, and Becky just stands up and gives her a Bexploder and puts her in her move for the finish. I had to rewind it. I was like, what happened? You were just buried under chairs getting smashed, and now you just won. A lot of this in this match. But they worked very, very hard. Compared to the rest of the show, this was like 10 stars. And I can't say I enjoyed anything that I watched, because I watched this after the main event. But this was, as a spectacle, as far as like delivering what was advertised, this was the best thing on the show.
Yes.
Now, as far as the technical aspects of professional grappling, the second match was the best match on the show.
Fair. Daniel Bryan.
I'm sorry, before you...
Yes, Rob, you need to gimmick me up.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to point this out because neither one of you seem to notice this, because I'm sure you're too dumbfounded by the ending of the main event.
Yes.
But at the beginning of the match, after Becky got into the ring, she grabbed a chain and wrapped it around her head, or wrapped it around her fist. And I think it was Lawler who said, "Well, anything is legal in a Hell in a Cell match." Which I thought,
that's true.
In retrospect, was a little bit of interesting foreshadowing.
That. He did say that.
Rob, I'm glad you brought up Jerry Lawler, because there's something else that bothered me about this that reminded me of this. As they're doing stuff with the Erector sets and the Lincoln Logs, Jerry Lawler says, I bet they spent all day wondering, how can I make this unique? How can I make this special? Why were they thinking, how can I fucking win?
Well,
that's what I want my pro wrestlers and their wrestling matches to be thinking.
Well, you're watching the wrong promotion.
I'm aware of that.
As we're all aware now.
All right.
I will add, by the way, there was another funny thing. When she grabbed the chain and wrapped it around her hand and started hitting Sasha with it, the announcers went out of their way to tell us, now we can't lock the door. Because apparently there's only one chain, okay? But the point is, then they never left. So I don't know why they bothered.
Well, eventually she put the chain back on and they locked it. Whatever. Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns versus the Bludgeon Brothers in a tornado match. No tags. So during the heat here, Corey Graves said Harper and Rowan were in a sanguinous mood. Now I thought he meant sanguine, which would be marked by eager hopefulness, confidently optimistic.
Talking about blood.
Sanguinous means frothy material was slowly... the Journal of American Medical Association...
Are you going to make it tonight, Vinny?
The Journal of the American Medical Association says, and using this in a sentence, frothy material was slowly exuding from her nose and mouth. Sanguinous. So I don't know, that may fit too.
Wow.
So they're having this big giant brawl, and there's the parade of the big spots outside where all four dudes are down and the crowd's cheering. And they cut to a wide shot and the big zoom out to show the crowd. That's a good time to use a crane shot. Because I talked about it on the Wednesday Night War show. Both AEW and NXT would try to use the crane shot during the match when stuff was happening, and it irritated me. This is a good time to use a crane shot. So the monsters take over, beat them up out on the floor for a while, go for a table spot, but Bryan counters with a Rana, and Roman ends up spearing Roman. Roman spears Rowan through the announce desk. The babyfaces hit their finishers in the ring. Roman gets the win with a spear. This was also a good tag team match.
This was a good tornado match. The big thing afterwards was the stare down from Bryan and Roman, where what they wanted was for the fans to chant, "Hug it out." But the fans didn't get the memo, so they did a yes chant, and they hugged, and everybody was happy.
Yes.
It got a big pop.
The body of this match was the Bludgeon Brothers destroying Daniel Bryan in the ring while fighting off interference. Roman was outside. Every time he tried to get in, they would hit him and lay him back out again. So
yes,
a good, simple story told there.
A good match.
This was
the end of the good portion of the show.
It's also exactly, no shit, when we tuned in.
Yeah, we tuned in right for this. I realize that some people really liked Randy Orton versus Ali. I'll talk about that in a second.
Who?
But first off, it opens with a Seth Rollins promo.
Yes, this is important. We must discuss this.
This grown man says, "This Hell in a Cell match tonight will be the greatest test of my career because of the amount of psychological warfare that I will have to battle tonight." And I watched this, and I just thought, I am too old for this. But then it struck me that their whole audience is old. It's astounding.
Yes.
I watched this show and it's like, how can any grown man with kids watch this? And literally, their biggest audience is over 50. I can't figure it out.
He admitted that he had never faced anyone like the Fiend Bray Wyatt, and the psychological warfare had him rattled. And he says, "I'm going to go out there and survive, I hope." All I can think of was, imagine, I know you're not a sports fan, Brian, but imagine you're about to watch the Super Bowl or the NBA Finals, the World Series coming up here in October. And you were watching a pregame interview, and one of the athletes said, "The other team, they've really got me rattled. They're in my head, man. I'm off my game." No, you wouldn't ever hear this because it's stupid. It's a stupid thing to say. Forget the delivery, forget the specific dialogue. The message he was conveying, the story they are telling is stupid.
Dude, people get mad at me when I say that Bray Wyatt is just a dude with a stupid mask on. Actually, it's a cool mask. Let's be fair. But when Seth Rollins comes on television and he says, "I've never faced a man like the Fiend Bray Wyatt before," and he mentions Bray Wyatt's name, and I think about how many times I have in fact seen Seth Rollins wrestle Bray Wyatt, I'm like, what? Dude, come on.
Randy Orton versus Ali.
Yes. Technically, this was a good match.
Was it?
Yeah, technically it was a good match.
It was very boring.
The fans were absolutely, completely dead.
That makes it a bad match, Brian.
Dead. Well, they were dead for everything on the show after that second match.
That's because they were all bad.
They weren't all bad matches.
They had a fucking boring-ass match. I was falling asleep. I had just got here. Orton does 700,000 moves in a row. People are only cheering for him. Ali makes his comeback. People respond by cheering for Orton. Ali goes to the 450. He misses it. I guess they call it the 450 because he misses by 450 feet. They did this cute spot. I do mean that's a compliment. Orton goes to the RKO, but Ali counters by doing a handstand.
Yeah.
That was cool. And he like flipped over and did a move. That was all fine and cool and well and good. And he immediately goes outside and does a springboard and jumps into the RKO anyway, like the biggest geek on earth.
He was a monstrous geek.
Orton casually, lazily pins him. This was a nice SmackDown mid-card match, stretched out over several minutes and thrown on pay-per-view.
This was a SmackDown squash match that they extended out and put on pay-per-view. Barely a comeback by Ollie, and when he did, the people chanted for Orton. I'm sure that somewhere somebody's mad at the fans. Why are you cheering for Orton? He's the heel. Ollie's supposed to be the babyface. Well, maybe it's because, as we learned in the very next match, they just turn people whenever they want to. So if they don't, I can't say they don't care, but if they give so little thought into the idea of turns and who's a babyface and who's a heel, then you better not get mad at the fans deciding they're going to cheer somebody that they like more than another guy. The Kabuki Warriors are now heels.
They are, Brian, but before we get to this match, unless you're making more points about Ollie.
No?
Okay. So on the kickoff show
Yes.
to Hell in a Cell, Natalya defeated Lacey Evans via clean submission. She put her in I don't even know. She won with a submission hold, and Lacey tapped out. It was a sharpshooter. Thank you, producer Rob. She wins via submission. And then after the match, when Lacey, I believe, offered a handshake, Natty dropped her with an elbow. She beat her twice. All right? They're doing a rematch tomorrow.
Vinny, there's a reason for that. And that is, this will be their fourth match in the last 5 weeks. They have gone 50-50, and so now they must have, I can't say a blow-off, they must now have another match.
Because they'll probably be
Yeah, I'm
sixth
sure there will
match.
be another match after this. But yes,
This
that,
makes no sense,
of
and it's
course not.
stupid.
Yes.
Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss versus the Kabuki Warriors. So, as you were discussing, Brian, I spent this entire match trying to figure out who the hell the babyfaces and heels were. Because last I saw, now I do not watch Raw. I did watch SmackDown this week just to check it out on Fox. It appears to be SmackDown, just on Fox. So, last I saw, Asuka's a babyface. Kairi has always been a babyface because she's the most adorable little thing in the world. Alexa was a heel, and Nikki was Alexa's friend, but getting treated badly and abused, so clearly the whole thing, they're only together to set up the eventual turn. Then I watched this match, and the Kabuki Warriors are heels.
Well, Vinny.
They're double teaming. They're cheating openly. Nikki is cheerleading. The crowd's chanting for her. I had no idea what was going on.
Alexa and Nikki were a team where Alexa was clearly using,
This show is literally killing us.
it was clearly using Nikki Cross, and that was the storyline, and she was treating her poorly, and everybody knew it except Nikki. And then suddenly one day, Alexa was a babyface. The Kabuki Warriors have been babyfaces every single time we've seen them on television. Tonight, they were just heels. So, that's the story. There is no angle. There is no storyline. The Kabuki Warriors are just bad now, and Alexa and Nikki are good.
That's stupid.
Yes.
So, Kairi went for the insane elbow and landed on Nikki's knees, which looked very painful. And then Asuka just grabbed Nikki and spat green mist in her face.
Yeah.
They didn't bother distracting the ref. He's just over in the corner saying,
Nice. They're counting. She's covered in mist. Other girls covered in mist. I mean, it's, pretty clear.
dude, he saw the mist in front of him.
There's a chain of evidence.
He's an eyewitness.
That doesn't mean anything.
Clearly. So Asuka wins. I honestly don't even know if green mist is illegal or not, but it'd be nice to tell me.
Vinny, if you went to court and you asked for a witness and just the witness testimony, I mean, the physical evidence is going to play more into this than the eyewitness testimony.
Fair.
And there was physical evidence of the crime.
You got me there.
Yeah. But hey, Kabuki Warriors are the best tag team in WWE, male or female. I mean, they're very good. And I was glad they won the titles in an unadvertised, unannounced match. So that was a thumbs up.
They recapped SmackDown for, seriously 10 minutes. They recapped every single segment on that show. The OC versus the Viking Raiders and a mystery partner. Mystery partner turned out to be Braun Strowman, who is a fitting mystery partner for the Viking Raiders. If they ever need a third man, he should be the guy. Talked about Braun's confrontation with Tyson Fury on SmackDown. They called Tyson Fury the lineal boxing champion.
Yeah, he's got a lineal boxing champion belt.
Yes. And just amazing to hear, considering the way they treat champions on their own show. I know that Kyrie Sane and Oscar are great, but these Viking Raiders, Brian,
They're very good.
they're also awfully good.
Dude, there's a lot of really good teams on Raw
They
and SmackDown.
They are huge and agile and powerful, and they work great with the club, and they're throwing Gallows around, the big giant guy. They did eventually cut, I think, Gallows off, whichever. The heat segment was pretty boring, but they did set up the hot tag well, and Braun Strowman hits the ring and runs wild on everybody. I love that his biggest trademark move is just running a lap.
Yeah. Sometimes he runs 2 laps.
Just does a big lap and clobbers and steamrolls over people. And they're doing this match. Everything's going perfectly fine, and the heels are disqualified for no good goddamn reason whatsoever.
Well, Vinny, the heels were disqualified because all 3 of them triple-teamed Braun Strowman.
Yes, Brian.
Apparently that's not allowed.
Brian, that's happened in literally every trios match I've ever seen in my life.
Here's the real question. So, when Brock Lesnar ended Kofi's 6-month championship reign in 7 seconds with 1 F5 and just buried the guy 6 feet under. Well, one of the things people told me was, you gotta get Brock over for Kane. That's the big match in Saudi Arabia. Brock versus Kane. Okay, fine, whatever. Well, isn't the big damn match in Saudi Arabia also Braun Strowman versus Tyson Fury? You can't have Braun Strowman pin Carl Anderson. You can't have Braun Strowman pin Luke Gallows. You can't come up with somebody for Braun Strowman to pin.
There's no one on the roster, Brian, who could have been pinned by Braun Strowman.
This was so infuriating. And then, of course, AJ, the Vikings beat up the OC. AJ goes for the springboard, and Braun gives him the punch because he's going to be facing Tyson Fury. And we get to all laugh at AJ as he does the wobbly legs and stumbles around, and he's concussed. He doesn't know what day he is or what city he's in. And I'm like, so Braun couldn't pin him with a punch? You had to do a dumb DQ and then punch the guy afterwards?
About 5 hours before watching this, maybe a little more, I watched a football player named Mason Rudolph get knocked out cold. You can see in slow motion HD replay, he gets hit in the head and he is out even before he starts to go down. And he goes down. All his teammates were terrified. They thought he may have been, they probably thought he may have literally been killed. They had to cut his face mask off before he finally woke up. He was thankfully able to get up and walk off the field, but it was terrifying and no one was making jokes about it. AJ was doing the exact same stuff here, but it was comedy. Fuck you and fuck your show. There's a fucking Street Profits thing. Who cares? You got anything to say about that?
Yeah, Tamina won the 24/7 title.
Whoopty shit. We have a Chad Gable, Baron Corbin recap, and then Baron Corbin begins to do his entrance. And then in hindsight, one of my favorite parts of the show occurs as we hear Baron Corbin's entrance, we hear his music, we hear Graves and Cole talking about Baron Corbin, but we see the kickoff show. And I'm watching the Seth Rollins Bray Wyatt hype video. I'm saying, well, why are they showing the wrong video? And you said, well, I'm sure the announcer's just talking about Seth and Bray. And then we get a shot of the panel, like Booker T and Renee and all them. But we still hear Baron Corbin.
They did a deal on Raw a couple of weeks ago where the Titantron was upside down when they were running down the matches. And I guess at the end of the day, it was the magic of Bray Wyatt. So yeah, I immediately thought this was just some goofy Bray Wyatt thing. Mm-hmm. But instead, it was a network glitch that apparently affected a ton of people. And was affecting people all night, because I tweeted about it, and then everyone was like, same thing happened to me, same time. So I don't know what's going on, but that was a legit glitch. We had to start over. 3 times we had to start the show again because of glitches with the WWE Network.
Sadly, the glitches were fixed. We had to watch the rest of the show. So eventually we get Baron Corbin versus Chad Gable. Do you remember several weeks back we were discussing if WWE could revive primetime wrestling? Who could possibly fill the seat of Bobby the Brain Heenan? I have found the worst man to fill that seat. Baron Corbin. He's doing 700 short jokes about Gable before the match. None of them are even remotely funny. So they start doing this match. If I thought the Orton match was boring, I apologize, Randy Orton. Your match was not boring. Your match was a goddamn roller coaster compared to Baron Corbin and Chad Gable. I'm trying to watch this thing. The crowd's chanting boring. Michael Cole's listing Baron Corbin's accomplishments, because I think he's going to start talking about his pre-wrestling background, because this man is a bad dude. But he says he's a former U.S. champion. Well, okay, it's a wrestling, so that's fine. Former Money in the Bank winner. Hey, that's a big prize to win. He was once the constable of Monday Night Raw. Fuck you and fuck your show. Chad Gable makes his comeback. Chad Gable, also a bad dude, an Olympic wrestler. And he begins to talk smack. You think I'm too short? Who's too small now? Has anyone involved in the production of World Wrestling Entertainment ever seen a fight?
Oh, not the people that matter.
Jesus Christ. This match insulted me. It goes on forever. The crowd's chanting boring. No one gives a shit. I'm begging them to call an audible and take it home. So after, I don't know, 90, 100 minutes of this, Baron Corbin decides, I will cheat. I will get disqualified, and I will lose. And he grabs a scepter. But the referee takes the scepter, and Gable schoolboys him, and the ref counts 3. And even though Corbin's plan was foiled, he loses anyway. Fuck you and fuck this show.
Dude, you're not even getting into the whole of this, Vinny.
I'm sure I'm missing 80% of it.
You're talking about this from the perspective of somebody only watching pay-per-views. They did a King of the Ring tournament, and they put Chad Gable in there. And Chad Gable, who's done nothing, and they don't give this guy anything, he starts going in there, and he looks great, and he's winning matches, and everybody is getting behind the guy. And they're cheering for him, and I'm not making this up. They went crazy for Chad Gable's wins in the King of the Ring. It comes down to Chad Gable versus Baron Corbin in the finals. Chad Gable versus Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin, by the way, after being just the dirt worst, actually has a bunch of really good matches in the King of the Ring. And they finally come down to the finals. And I'm sitting here watching this, and they do this match, and this match is great. And the fans are so behind Chad Gable, and they're going crazy. And all I can think is, okay, you got something here with Chad Gable. Give him the big win. You know what Baron Corbin doesn't need? He doesn't need more heat. What they need is a babyface. For once in their lives, they need a babyface. What do? Baron Corbin wins. He beats Chad Gable. And he's the King of the Ring. And I said, you can go back and listen to these shows. I said, this guy didn't need this. Corbin is already hated. He doesn't need more heat. You've got to give something to Chad Gable like next week. So what do they do the next week? They do a rematch. Now's their big chance. The fans are still behind Chad Gable. They're going crazy for Chad Gable in this match. And guess what? Baron Corbin wins again. Well, now you fast forward to this pay-per-view, and as always, it's too late. The fans don't care about Chad Gable anymore. Baron Corbin is exactly as hated as he's always been. He's no more hated. Now he's just got some dumb crown that he wears. Nobody cares about this match. Nobody cares about Baron Corbin. Nobody cares about Chad Gable. But now they decide, now we're going to let Chad Gable win. But is he really going to win? No. Baron Corbin gets his stupid scepter. He swings the scepter. He misses. Chad Gable gets a fluke roll-up, and he pins the guy. Fine. You don't really want him to win. That's what you decided to do for a finish. Whatever. He's not over. Well, not to skip forward, but 10 minutes later, after the next match, they go backstage to Kayla. And I don't know if you mentioned it or not, Vinny, but the ring announcer announced him the winner of this match, Shorty Gable.
Yes. Corbin, in his unfunny jokes, decreed that Chad Gable's new name is Shorty, and the ring announcer went along with it.
The ring announcer announces your winner, Shorty Gable. I laughed. I literally laughed out loud when I heard that. They go backstage after the next match, and there's Kayla. And by the way, the irony of Kayla calling him Shorty, that was funny in and of itself. She says, "Hey, Shorty," or whatever. And he goes, "You know what? You can call me Shorty." Corbin said I'd never be taken seriously because of my height. Ask him how it feels now to come up short. Corbin called me a joke, but he wasn't smiling at the end of that match. He then goes to leave. Baron Corbin rushes in. He beats the shit out of Shorty Gable and leaves him for geek. Not for dead, for geek. Because that's what he is now.
That's even worse.
He's a geek.
Dead, at least you want to see him rise from the grave and get revenge.
He is
geek. You just don't care about him.
They told you he's a geek. They told you we gave you this win just to make you feel better. But by the way, he's still a geek. So screw you, you're a mark. That's how this whole thing ended.
This was a classic Vince Russo move. It was delayed because Russo would have had Corbin beat up Gable in the ring, but it was the exact same concept. You give a guy a win, and then you have the loser beat him up to ensure nobody gets over. Charlotte versus Bayley. First, the women come out. They do the full entrances, music's playing, light show, the whole bit. They get in the ring for this championship match, and then they stand there like geeks while 200 international announcers are introduced to the crowd, or at least the crowd at home. Then there's bullshit with the 24/7 title. Tamina's out there. Truth is out there. Truth has a showdown with Funaki. I think the idea was that, Funaki's he is a legend in WWE terms. Funaki debuted in the WWF 1 year before R-Truth. They're contemporaries. Just think about that for a while. Anyway, I don't even know what happened, and I don't care. Then we go back to the ring. Charlotte and Bayley have been standing there this whole goddamn time.
Oh, yeah, just standing there with
Thumb
the
up
lights
their
out,
ass.
watching this stuff up on the big screen, just standing there.
So, eventually the match begins. The match was not bad. But I was so bewildered from opening bell to closing bell about who I was supposed to be cheering for. I was baffled. I was under the impression that Bayley had done a heel turn.
No, she's a heel.
So I'm watching this, and Cole's calling her a resilient champion, unironically. And Charlotte, who is much larger, is grounding her and working over her leg, and then Bayley's making a big hot comeback. Are you sure she's a heel?
Vinny?
She didn't wrestle like one in one bit.
Let me explain this to you. And please try to maintain your composure.
I should do my best.
I said this would happen a month ago. I said Bayley is going to face Charlotte in Charlotte, and she is going to beat Charlotte, so Charlotte loses in her hometown. Then they're going to go to Bayley's hometown, and Charlotte is going to beat her. I said this. I said this would happen. Now, this was not San Jose. It was Sacramento. But I'm sure the idea was Bayley will be cheered in Sacramento because it's by her hometown. Thus, she will work as a babyface in this match against Charlotte. But she is, in fact, a heel, and Charlotte is a babyface. And even though this isn't her actual hometown, she had to lose here because it's by her hometown. That's what's happening here.
I get your hometown point, but she did, until the very end of this match, Bayley didn't do one thing to draw boos. Nothing!
Yes, because she was going to work as a babyface because they thought it was close enough to her hometown that she would be cheered.
Okay. So, I'm watching this whole thing. Charlotte gets her finish, the natural selection, but Bayley gets the ropes. The crowd yawns. Randomly, in this very boring match, there are dueling chants of, let's go Bayley, let's go Charlotte. And then, much to my bafflement, Bayley attempts to cheat to win. It doesn't work. Charlotte gets the figure 8. She wins clean via submission. Then she taunts Bayley being a giant asshole, Charlotte is. Then Bayley throws a tantrum. So I guess the answer is we don't cheer for either of them. We hate them both.
I think that's what we're supposed to be getting at. But I think, is Charlotte a babyface? Does anybody know?
It's impossible.
I actually do not. I think she's a babyface. I think. But I don't know. And at the end of the day, Vinny, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's clear. So we get the Gable thing with Corbin killing him backstage. They go to the Raw announce desk. They don't care. They have 700 other things they'd rather be talking about than Baron Corbin killing Chad Gable backstage. They don't give a shit. It is at last time for the main event. Bray Wyatt, the Fiend Bray Wyatt, versus Seth Rollins in a Hell in a Cell match. Now, I believe several years now, we have pointed out, hey, the cell is red. And people point out, you idiots, it's been red for years. Has the red light always been there? That's what people say.
I feel like this is new.
I swear to God, it's come up before.
I feel like this is this year it's been red.
Well, I'm pretty sure. Fuck, I don't know, but.
Well, the reality is, Vinny, why bother having a red cell
you can have a red
if
light.
you can have a red light?
Which makes the thing look white.
I couldn't even figure. Dude, where to begin?
People were saying, at least one person said, I think that's just a red filter on the camera. The people in the arena are seeing the light. I'm saying, no, I see blue lights in the crowd. It's not on the camera, dude. They're showing a red light in the arena for this match. So, this match did have a story. I will say that.
What a story.
The story is...
The Fiend can't be killed.
The Fiend is a horror movie monster who will take damage and 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 then rise from the grave and kill you anyway. The Fiend has a catchphrase. Rob, what is the catchphrase the fans were chanting again?
Zowie wowie.
Yowie wowie.
Yowie wowie.
Ask me next time.
Okay.
This guy's busy failing at fantasy football.
I think it's important to make producer Rob a part of the show. So
I see. Okay.
Yowie wowie is the Fiend's catchphrase.
Yowie wowie.
Okay. I thought the fans were chanting for Maui wowie, which is much funnier, and for this match also very appropriate.
Maybe they were.
I wish I'd had some. So they do the story. Bray gets curb stomped like a minute in and just gets up. I think he got up even before Seth could make a cover.
Yes.
Got splashed through a cover, just stood right, splashed through a table, got right back up. Gets curb stomped again, gets right back up. They start fighting outside with Sister Abigail. And one into the cage, one in the ring, and got two.
Dude, when he had that Sister Abigail in the cage, I was like, perfect. It's over. He's a champion. Let's get out of here. Seth kicks out.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, God. Now what?
So they go outside.
Little did I know.
Where Bray goes under the ring. And as promised, Bray Wyatt pulled out a big cartoon mallet.
Yes.
Like he's the Joker from the Batman cartoon.
Yes.
Not from the Joaquin Phoenix movie, which is much better than anything on this show.
Even the Joker would have laughed at this mallet.
No, the Joker would have frowned. This was so awful, the Joker would have lost his smile.
This mallet is so big, and they're pretending like it's really heavy. Like he kind of bonks the steps with it, and they go, oh, you can hear the weight. This big, stupid square mallet. I'm trying to describe to people how big this mallet is. This mallet is the size of a mini fridge, right?
It's at least as big, probably bigger than those hammers the Bludgeon Brothers had.
Oh, twice as big.
Yes.
Easily twice as big. It's ridiculous.
So, it's a mallet, right? Which is another word for a hammer. I am confident that every single person listening to the sound of my voice right now knows how hammers work.
Yes.
You raise them up high, you drop them down heavy, so the blunt surface strikes ideally a nail, often though your thumb, what have you. Bray Wyatt went through all the trouble to get a big giant cartoon mallet made and never learned how to use it.
Well, Vinny, it's so heavy, he can't lift it.
So
He can only push with it.
thrusts with the not even the curve nor the edge, or not the point of the edge. He thrusts with the curve of it. Dio Madden says he almost impaled him.
Yes.
So Dio Madden does not listen to my voice because he does not know how mallets work.
Why didn't you just get a shovel? Because that would have worked.
Apparently. So this shot with a heavy cartoon mallet leads directly to Seth Rollins making his comeback.
Yes.
It's reverse kryptonite. It fired him up. He's making his comeback. He's booed out of the building.
You know the best part of this comeback?
No.
I'm going to tell you. So there's a lot of crazy people out there in the world right now that love WWE, and they will accept no other wrestling. They do not want to hear about New Japan. They do not want to hear about AEW. They want no wrestling except WWE. And if anybody raves about anything in New Japan, if we come on here, we talk about how great an Okada-Tanahashi match is, or Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, whoever, what are these people going to say? They're going to say, there's no psychology. It's just kicking out of finishers. There is never, in the history of New Japan, in the history of AEW, I'm not sure in the history of any promotion in the world, there has never been a match where one dude no-sold every single solitary finish of the other guy multiple times.
Over and over and over and over.
Even Brock, when he took like 4 curb stomps, or Braun when he took the 4 curb stomps and the pedigree. Do we have a curb stomp count in this match? I'll do it while you talk about this.
Well, so he begins to do all his finishers. I wrote a dozen stomps. I will be honest, I was guessing. He hit a pedigree. He hit another curb stomp. Bray kicks out at 1. So Seth hits a bunch more finishers.
He hit 10 curb stomps in this match.
I guarantee you it's more than that.
No, it was 10. Well, you're also forgetting like the pedigree and the chair shots and the hammer and the toolbox.
Yeah, so let's get into this. So Bray kicks out at 1, but he still can't get to his feet. He's still incapacitated. So Seth leaves the ring to grab a chair, and he stands over Bray, and he raises the chair high over his head, and he smashes it down into Bray Wyatt's face, allegedly. He did not actually hit him in the head with a chair, which is good. Bray just lies there. If you can kick out, surely you can roll over? You can defend yourself somehow? What a shitty monster. So the chair shot also gets a count of 1. So he lays the chair on his face, drops a ladder onto the chair. I think that may have gotten 1. I gave up on the details of all this bullshit. Puts the chair and the ladder on Bray's face. He grabs a toolbox and swings the toolbox up over his head and smashes him in the face. That won't get it. And then Seth says, I need the ultimate weapon. Which is, of course, the sledgehammer. Now, I know we ranted about how the big hammer was legal and the small hammer is illegal. But in WWE's stupid logic, this is Triple H's trademark weapon. He has bestowed upon it the game's magic powers. So I can accept that this is more violent than the big giant cartoon hammer. He gets in this ring, and this ref, who has watched these guys use tables and ladders and chairs and toolboxes and Christ knows what else, now he must step in. No, Seth, he says, this isn't you. That's exactly what he said. This isn't you.
This isn't you? Are you the referee or his psychiatrist?
Yes. And the ref tries to talk him out of this. And I believe you both said you saw Seth weeping with guilt.
Yes.
He was choked up. He said, you're right, it's not me. And then he raised his hammer high, and he brought it down upon the head of Bray Wyatt. And yes, the referee called for the disqualification.
Excuse me, the disqualification?
The disqualification.
In a Hell in a Cell match?
At this point, as I'm sure you've all seen by now, Sean Waltman, Triple H's very good friend and a legit WWE Hall of Famer, is watching on their program.
Oh, man.
Their watch along. And he says, I don't know if I'm going to get invited back here, but how can you have a DQ in a friggin' Hell in a Cell? And then some other guy says, well, I don't know if it was a DQ. And Waltman turns to him, looks at this idiot.
So at the end of the day, they killed Seth Rollins. He is now the geek to end all geeks. They killed Bray Wyatt. Like, this was his night to win the title, but he didn't. They killed the concept of Hell in a Cell because there's a disqualification. And I think they killed Ride Along. Because I can't imagine another Ride Along after this one. Or Watch Along or whatever it's called. Dude.
So, the cell gets raised. They show a bunch of replays as geeks try to pull Seth away and make sure Bray Wyatt's alive. But of course, Bray Wyatt fires up and kicks Seth's ass. Why didn't you just do that 10 minutes ago if you could have done it all along? He puts him in the mandible claw. Seth is sanguinous. He is spitting up blood.
He actually was sanguinous.
At the end of the
You're
show.
right.
The fans are chanting AEW, AEW.
They chanted for refunds. They chanted to restart the match. Then they chanted AEW when they knew it wouldn't happen. They chanted bullshit. Dude. Like, if you watch Raw and SmackDown, there's like one act that's over right now. And it's Bray Wyatt. They really thought that they could get away with this finish. Like, they honestly thought that you'd take it because they think you're a mark. Like, how do you think you can get away with this? The only guy that anybody cares about on this show is going into Hell in a Cell with Seth Rollins, who has been being booed as the top babyface because he's such a geek. And you think that you can put these two guys in a Hell in a Cell match and satisfy your audience with a disqualification finish? Honestly, come on. That's the show, everybody.
So the show goes off the air. The show is followed by a episode of WWE Chronicle featuring Bill Goldberg.
Oh, yeah.
So we're looking at Seth being sanguinous and hearing the crowd chanting AEW, 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 and the screen fades to black. And then the light comes up, and there is Bill Goldberg, whose first words are, and I'm not making this up, I feel like shit.
Hey, join the club, buddy.
I also feel like shit, Bill Goldberg, for I have watched Shit in a Cell 2019. Thumbs
Vinny,
down!
Well, Vinny, try not to peek the mic there. Go home and watch the Goldberg deal. I haven't seen it yet, but I have been told that the legendary moment where Bill Goldberg met Matt Riddle and said, "Don't call me bro."
Really?
And Matt Riddle said, "Okay, bro."
Really?
This is captured
Really?
on this documentary.
Huh.
Yes. So you can look forward to that.
Intriguing.
Yes. So everyone, here's the plan. Normally on Sundays, when we review Superstars and or NWA, we will open with Granny. But I felt that it was very important that we get this review out of the way first. So that was your Hell in a Cell review. The show sucked. Now we're going to join
dear
Granny.
God. Oh, hang on. No.
Yes.
I must regroup.
It'll take a moment to get her on the air. So stand by, everybody. Let's get Granny here on the air. Well, after all that, Granny's joining us here now. Granny, how you doing? Your new Sunday date.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if it's going to be better or worse.
Well, we're going to do something a little different here today, Granny. And that is, I want to start with your wrestling report here. I have to get at least the pay-per-view. You can save the rest of the stuff for later. But what did you think about this Hell in a Cell pay-per-view?
With the girl she was talking about?
Whatever you watch tonight, the pay-per-view. I want your review.
Okay. There was Becky and Shirai.
Sasha. Off to a hot start here on Sunday nights.
Well, I do this all the time, so okay. There were so darn many ladders in the ring that it was just crazy. And Becky ladder, somebody or
You're right. Watching this show.
Sasha knocked Becky down and threw the ladder on her, and they were in and out of the ring so often I couldn't even keep track of it. And Sherry jumped off the thing and jumped right on Becky's head. It was brutal, and rings full of chairs is all I have. And Becky won it, and I gave it an 8.
Wow, an 8.
Right.
Well, you know what? That deserved an 8.
I don't
As I calm down, I can see this with more perspective. That was a good match.
Okay, then there was Rowan, Harper, Bryan, and Reigns.
Yes.
Didn't watch it much.
Fine review.
I got boring and pew.
Sorry, what?
You got boring and pew?
Yeah.
Like PU?
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
3 running drop kicks. Bryan and Roman won that. I gave it a 5.
Okay, 5.
It's a very high grade based on her review, but okay.
Yeah, a little better than that, but that's okay.
Then there was Randy Orton versus Ally.
Yes.
Arm twisting.
Ally Quinta or just...
I just got Ally.
Like
Okay.
enemy and ally.
Yeah.
Arm twisting, uppercuts, ring post bang by Randy. As usual, Ally jumps, Randy moves, and Randy wins. I give that a 4.
She is getting right to the point with these tonight.
I'll say, yeah. 4.
Yeah.
These are all fair ratings, by the way.
And then, did I say I gave that a 4?
Yes.
Anyway.
Would you like to say it again?
Nikki and Bliss against Sasha and Sane. Jawbreakers
Sure,
by Nikki. Against a backboard. Nikki's top rope. And Bliss, or not Bliss, but Sasha jumps up on the rope and Nikki puts her knees up. And so Sasha falls on Nikki's knees. And so,
Don't worry about it.
yeah.
Okay.
What?
There's no Sasha in this match. I have no idea who you're talking about, but keep going.
Shirai.
There's no Shirai in this match either.
Oh, you're right. Why don't they want Shirai?
What is going on with you guys? Is Asuka and Kairi sane? Just tell us what score you gave it, Granny.
Let's see. I want to give that a 2 because Nikki didn't do too well.
Oh, yeah, it's because Nikki Cross was in. I should have known.
Yeah, so that.
It was better than a 2, Granny.
And then, not only that, I didn't watch the last dumb thing.
Good.
You didn't watch the final Hell in a Cell?
Best decision you ever made.
That's all people are talking about, Granny.
Was that the one with Lesnar?
No, this was the one with Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins. It was -10. -10.
Oh, I thought that with Lesnar was the last one, so I just quit watching.
No.
Bummer. Sorry about that. I missed that one then. Tell me about it.
We'll take it out of your paycheck, Granny.
Tell me about it.
It sucked.
It was terrible,
They had a disqualification in a cage match.
which you couldn't see because the lights were red.
Yes.
Well, then why do you think I missed something good then?
You didn't miss anything good. You missed one of the worst things ever. I wanted to hear your review and score.
Oh, well, by the time I got through with this batch, I was so sick of the whole thing. I just got so sick of it all, I just didn't want to watch anymore.
Well.
Oh, must be nice.
Yeah. What a life. I
Yeah.
can't wait till I'm in that position.
I don't know how you guys do it.
I don't either. I literally had a mental breakdown for a while there at the beginning of the show.
It gets worse all the time.
That was his point. It's going to get worse.
Yeah, it's going to only get worse from here.
Wow. Well, we got 45 questions.
All right, I think, just looking at the first 2 or 3 here,
Let's read some funny ones.
I was going to say,
Let's lighten the mood.
the rules, everyone, because it's a new day, there may be new listeners and new questions, people who don't know the rules. The rules are questions for Granny only, not for Bryan and Vinny, and nothing wrestling related. So I'll skip all questions that do not follow those two rules, and also any other questions I just don't think are good to read.
Okay.
Moses Marquez begins with a fine note. How was your weekend, Granny? Were you upset that The Undertaker was not on SmackDown?
Yes, I was, because Val told me that he was going to be on. That's why I watched it.
False advertising.
Can I make a comment on that SmackDown show? On
Absolutely, Granny. I want to hear your thoughts on their false advertising of the Undertaker. You know, I had a guy on Observer Live today said that nobody cared whether The Undertaker was there or not. Someone actually said that to me as a defense for their false advertising. I'm like, wait till you hear Granny tonight.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Anyway.
Harsh words, Granny.
On the one on TV, there were almost more commercials than there were wrestling.
Yeah.
So I kind of decided I was going to comment on the commercials instead of the wrestling.
Okay.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
I'll take it.
Oh, you guys, you can't take a joke.
Oh.
We were hoping that you did do that.
It's actually a great idea, Granny.
I'm done with that part now. Let's go back to the questions.
Back to the questions, Vinny.
That is a bummer. Gianfranco Ocampo wants to know, has there ever been an inappropriate time Brian has said, will you shut up or get out of here?
No, he better not have. Not that I know of, remember. I probably told him.
Tim Page wants to know, is there anything less interesting than hearing other people talk about their fantasy football leagues?
No. Nothing else.
Who was that?
Tim Page.
Get out of here, Tim.
Paul Ryan McPherson says, I have been listening to the old Christmas shows lately, and I'm curious, does Cliff still call Vinny a goober?
No.
Probably would if he saw you.
Thanks,
Dude,
Vinny.
he doesn't remember Vinny. Are you kidding me? You should see Cliff now. He's twice your size.
He probably remembers Vinny, though.
I doubt it. It's a long time ago. He was a little kid.
It's been years since
Yeah.
I saw him.
Oh.
A grown man now.
I shouldn't even tell a story. Yeah, forget it.
Alistair
I'll
Hamilton.
tell a story just because So I teach kids jujitsu, okay?
Word.
So one of Cliff's friends, Alex, he had a little sister, and Alex used to do jujitsu, and then his little sister came in, and she did class, and she was probably 6 years old, maybe 7 years old. She was really little. So we've known this Alex forever. He does football with Cliff and everything like that. I can't even tell the story. Just go. I'll tell you off the air. It's just too bad.
Oh, gee.
Okay, so anyway.
Brian, can you just
What?
make up a story? You need to make up a bad
All
story.
you need to know is his little sister did gymnastics for like 6 months and then quit, okay? But because we know the family and everything like that, like, we know the family. But I never really see him. It's mostly my sister, my mom, blah, 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 blah. So one day, I'm at Safeway, and I see his little sister. She's now a high school cheerleader. She's in her cheer outfit. I go up to say hi. She has no idea who I am.
You're kidding.
I'm trying to say hello. She's looking at me like I'm the biggest creep. I'm sweating right now thinking about this story. It was so painfully awkward. So the point is, there's a good chance Cliff doesn't remember Vinny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a good save, Brian. You managed to tell that tale in a self-deprecating
It
manner,
was so bad.
and the police would not get involved.
It was so bad.
Alistair Hamilton, Granny, wants to know, what did you enjoy doing on Sundays when you were in your 20s?
Probably taking care of
Do
my
they have Sundays yet?
Well, it was
Didn't the Lord invent like X number of days?
I think she was in...
Sunday was last.
She was in her 20s in the 20s, so...
I see.
What? In the 20s and 20s? Come on.
She was in her 20s and the 40s.
Yeah.
I know.
Anyway, I was
making a joke, Brian.
I was
Well,
probably-
she's so old. It's like, usually when we make these jokes, they're not jokes. But that one was
I
wrong.
said they had not invented Sundays yet, you asshole.
Are you done?
Sorry, Granny.
Okay. I was probably...
It's been a terrible day for me. Go ahead.
I'm going to quit.
No, this has nothing to do with you, Granny. It has to do with me and Vinny and the stupid pay-per-view.
But
Tell us
I'm-
what you
I'm-
did in your 20s.
I'm trying to talk and you're butting
I'm
in.
sorry.
Okay. Anyway, I probably, when I was in my 20s, I had 4 kids. That's probably all I did. We did go to church once in a while, though. But that's about it.
Mr. Williams wants to know, which holiday is better, Halloween or Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving, I don't even pay any attention. All I've done for Halloween is I've got a sign hanging out beside my door that says Home of the Wicked Witch. That's all I'm doing for Halloween.
You right over there, Brian?
Can I unmute myself yet?
What
I muted
is-
myself, Granny. You were yelling at me. Go ahead, Vinny.
Only Osashian asks, hi, Granny. What kind of cake do you want for your birthday party?
White. Just a white cake. It's my favorite.
Nothing wrong with white cake.
I'm so hot.
Liam Robinson asks,
I'm starting with my socks.
which of these is your favorite insult? Lame-o, bozo, geezer, or weenie? Or could you suggest a better one?
Where's geek?
No comment on that. I don't even know what he's talking about.
What's your favorite insult, Granny? Geek? Weenie? Geezer?
Fool?
Dummy.
Dummy.
Well, that was easy.
That works.
Can you see my pants in that camera?
What? Are you taking your pants off now?
That's next. Go ahead, Vinny.
Gee.
I don't know if she still does it. For a long time, Becky Lynch, even as the biggest star in the company, in the middle of her matches would scream at her opponents and call them weirdo.
Oh, she still does that.
She does that. Okay.
You little weirdo.
That makes me laugh. Eric Ferguson wants to know, Granny, what are you going to be for Halloween, and what is your favorite
The
candy?
Wicked Witch.
Okay. What's your favorite candy?
Candy Kisses.
Hershey's Kisses.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I'll be giving out if anybody comes to the door.
All right.
Matt Loveridge, a top fan, wants to know if you've ever ridden or been a passenger on a motorcycle.
You bet I have. My ex was, I'm surprised that I'm not dead. Because we were on the freeway, and I had glasses at the time, and the lens were loose, and the lens fell out, and it happened to fall right on my leg, and I put my hand down and grabbed it. But he was the worst. He was the worst driver that you could ever imagine. I'm surprised we didn't get killed.
I'm very happy about it, too.
Yeah, that was something else. I'm not kidding you.
Dean Valerial wants to know if you have any favorite mixed drinks.
I used to drink gin and tonic, and then I liked the now I can't remember, Manhattans.
So
But
the answer is
gin and-
yes.
Gin and tonic was my favorite. Had lots of those.
Brian Bierman wants to know, he says, here in Pennsylvania, we have a problem with spotted lanternflies ruining our crops.
Oh, hate those spotted lantern flies.
What's the best way to deal with them?
Gee.
They're bugs. They're big. I know you laugh, Brian. If you see the videos of these things, they're nightmares.
I'm sure they are.
And they're everywhere.
Spray him with an airplane. One of those sprayer things.
All right, Brian, get on that.
I'll do that.
Brian Bierman here.
I see.
Johnny Stewart wants to know, this is a wrestling question, but I'll ask it anyway. If you had your own wrestling show, what would you call it?
Quits.
That's right. I'm quitting. That would be it. Right there.
Let's do two more.
Ryan Dutch wants to know, when they wrote the song Roll Out the Barrel, do you think they were referring to the Cracker Barrel?
I don't know. Could be.
I don't think so. It's my vote.
Probably not.
And finally, Andrew G. Caruth he says, it's currently raining. How can I keep myself dry without staying inside?
Go undercover somewhere.
Can I keep myself dry without going inside? Go under a tree.
Put a coat on.
Yeah, go on.
It's like a riddle contest.
But if it's raining, the lightning could hit him if he's under a tree.
True.
Yeah, just get under some other cover.
Or just go inside.
Oh, yeah. Why can't you go inside, dude?
It's nice inside.
All right.
Probably got locked out.
Let's do this wrestling report, Granny.
Oh,
I
God.
thought we just did.
No, we did the pay-per-view, but she's got some other
Oh,
stuff.
she's more. Okay.
Well, let's see. This is SmackDown.
Well, we haven't done SmackDown yet.
I'm not sure. Oh, the pay-per-view.
No, we did the pay-per-view.
No.
We didn't do SmackDown.
Okay, SmackDown. I just made notes on that, so I'll just go that way. First, Steffi and Vince came out for a promo,
Yeah.
and then Becky Lynch and I'm lost here. Oh, Becky Lynch and Rock. I think it was Rock that came out
Yes.
with Corbin, and
She thinks that was The Rock. Yes, that was The Rock.
Yeah, and they did a promo back and forth, and they smacked him with Corbin all over the place, and so he fell out of the ring. So that was that one. Then there was Charlotte and Becky with Sasha and Bailey. Bailey starts with the kicks and backdrops, and Sasha comes in, moonsault by Charlotte. Chin chops, free for all, middle rope jump, kick out, top rope, kick on face, figure four, hold on Bailey. Becky and Charlotte win. Oh, let's see, I'll give that probably a 5.
So Charlotte beat Becky on SmackDown and on the pay-per-view. Just thought about that.
Bailey.
Yeah. Bailey.
Oh, and then they were partners here?
Yeah.
Okay. Then there was Chef Rollins and, oh, that's one. Nakamura.
Chef Rollins? Who was it?
Rollins, I'm
Okay.
just saying. Anyway, and what happened to that one? Nakamura and Rollins, they were in the ring for a while, and then all of a sudden they were out in the crowd, and then nothing happened.
Yeah.
Well, Grain,
happened?
what happened was the lights went out, and Seth Rollins, who in storyline is a coward, ran to the top of the stage. But in addition to being a coward, he is also stupid. And so he turned his back to the place where wrestlers come out from. And so the wrestler he was scared of came out from where wrestlers come out from and attacked him. And there was no finish to the match.
Oh, I couldn't, it just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
But then there was Shane and Owens with the money ladder thing. And that was a big fight. Up and down the ladder, and Owen hits Shane with the ladder, and just back and forth, and top rope jumps and all that, and then Shane does one of these long jumps. You know how he goes from one corner and jumps clear over to the other side.
I sure do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he got thrown on the announcer's table, and I put here boring ladder match.
Wow.
And so anyway, Owen wins. Oh, and that was supposed to be one of those that whoever loses is going to be out for good.
Yeah, they allegedly have to retire Granny, but this is pro wrestling, so.
Oh, so Shane won't be out for good, will he?
Well, they claim he is, but I'm sure they're going to find some way to bring him back.
Then I'm really going to quit watching because I like him.
Oh, my God.
Do you need any more, or is that enough?
Well, that's enough if that's what you got. You
Well,
didn't watch Brock and Kofi?
I had 3 wrestling. Just a minute. I had NXT.
Oh, excellent. But no AEW?
No, I don't know what that is. Oh, wow. I'll see what I got here.
What is going on?
I got so much paperwork here. Oh,
Granny, you had 3 extra days to prepare this week.
I was doing things. Okay, wait a minute. Here, I got NXT, September 18th. Shirai and Belair.
Told you, Shirai.
And Yim and...
Wait, what was the date?
September 18th?
September 18th, okay.
Oh, I thought it was October. Oops.
Okay, anyway, go through it.
Okay, 4-way free-for-all. No
It's 2 weeks ago. This is the one she's reviewing.
suplex by Belair, kick on side of Mia's head, drop kicks, 2 counts, count breakups, top rope jump on 2 outside ring by Mia. All 4 down together for a big fall. Candace wins. I get that a 4. Then
That's rough.
this has been so long ago.
Yes.
Velvet Dream
exhausted.
versus Roderick. What's his last name?
Strong. I feel like we did this
Strong.
one last week because I think you called him Roderick Storm.
Well, I've got so many notes here. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. October the 2nd.
Do you have notes from every show you've ever done? There's a room filled with just sheets of
Okay,
paper.
let's do this last one, Granny. October 1.
Listen, I've got a middle drawer in my desk.
Okay.
Every
Okay.
week I just throw things in there.
I'm dying here, Granny. I'm so hot. I watched the worst show of all time. Let's do this October 1st one.
I want to hear more about a drawer.
So you're trying to, in a hurry to get rid of me, huh?
I'm sweating, Granny. I seriously am about to take my pants off. I'm so hot right now.
What's that got to do with me?
Because you're still on the thing, and so, like, when the show's over, I can open the window and shut off the lights and, like, cool off.
Oh, so in other words, you're trying to get rid of me. So
No,
you
I
can-
just want you to get going so that we can, like, get through all of this.
Okay, I'll just do one then.
Okay.
Matt Riddle versus Adam Cole. It's a championship.
Yes.
Bang face down. Punches, fast moves, fast kicks out of the ring. Roundhouse kick. Back elbow. Lots of 2 counts. Leg around neck, sub hold. Bicycle kick by Cole. On top rope. Cole wins in number 5.
You only give that a 5?
Yeah.
Wow. We gave that like a 9.
Well, and then I'll just had Cherie and Yim and Baszler and, what was her name? Candace. And I don't like Baszler at all. So that's that. I won't do any more than that's it.
Granny, listen.
So you can cool off.
Listen. Most weeks on Sunday, we're going to call you first, and then we're going to review our matches afterwards. But
That's
because
what you
there wa-
always do.
No, yes, that's what we always do, but we didn't do that tonight because there was a big pay-per-view, and so we reviewed the pay-per-view first. So we've been on the air now for an hour and 20 minutes. So we did the pay-per-view, and then we called you. So we're exhausted. But it's
okay.
only this week. In the future, we're going to call you first.
Okay.
So it'll be back to normal.
Whatever. Can I talk about the birthday party?
Yes, tell us about the birthday party.
We were talking about it yesterday. Have you got anybody? Do you know who's coming?
I don't know who's coming, Granny. I have no idea.
I don't either. So how do we know what to do about food or anything? We've got to know.
Well, maybe everyone's going to have to RSVP me.
Don't we have
Yeah,
6
they're
weeks?
going to have to.
We have a long time, yes.
Yeah, because we're going to have to go by a couple of days before by who we know who's coming. Otherwise, we'll have a mess.
Okay, so if you're listening to this right now and you want to go to Granny's 90th birthday party, Thorndike Room at McMenamins Anderson School, Bothell, beautiful Bothell, Washington, November 3, 2019. It's Sunday, November 3, 2019, between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. So if you're going to go, RSVP me, Bryan at WrestlingObserver.com. Tell me you're going and how many, and we can start an RSVP list. Put RSVP Granny in the subject line.
Or
and
they can even tell me, but the girls are going to send out a few invitations for people around here.
Okay, excellent.
So,
All right, well, send them to me if you're going, or you can send them to Granny, and we'll start taking a head count.
yeah, because we've got to know.
Okay. That
Okay,
sounds good,
that's it.
Granny.
Okay.
All right, thanks for doing the show. I'm exhausted.
Okay. How's the baby?
The baby's wonderful. I'm going to go take care of her here in a second.
Good. I wish I could see her.
You will again soon, I'm sure.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, that's it, everybody. I'm done. I'm spent. We'll be back here on Tuesday. From this to Retro, Raw, and Nitro from 19 years ago.
I'm going to watch Vince Russo show.
Yes. No, he's done. I think he's done.
Oh, okay.
I think he's done. I think it's still bad, but I think he's done.
Yeah.
So that's coming up on Tuesday, and then we'll go from there.
As best we can.
Yes. God bless you all. We'll talk to you again after a while.
Bye.